I never thought I'd see my grandfather cry. This was a man who survived war, buried friends, worked steel mills for 40 years, and still woke up every morning at 5 a.m. to water his tomatoes. He didn't complain. He didn't ask for help. And he sure as hell didn't scare easily. But that afternoon, he was sitting on his porch, clutching his arm, shaking, not from pain alone, but from humiliation. And the people responsible. Fake HOA officers. It started like any quiet afternoon. My grandpa lived alone on a small property he'd owned outright for decades. No mortgage. No liens. No HOA membership. Never had been. The neighborhood tried to form one years ago, but he opted out legally and permanently. That didn't stop them from targeting him. A black SUV rolled up. Two men stepped out wearing cheap tactical vests with patches that said, HOA enforcement. One of them had a badge clipped to his chest, plastic, scratched, and fake as hell. The other carried a clipboard and a pair of zip ties hanging openly from his belt. They didn't knock. They marched straight up his porch like they owned it. My grandpa told me later they said he was in violation. Overgrown hedges. Unauthorized shed. Unpaid fines totaling thousands. All lies. But they spoke fast, loud, and aggressive, banking on the fact that he was old and alone. He tried to explain. He showed them his paperwork. He told them he wasn't part of their HOA. That's when one of them grabbed his arm. Neighbors heard shouting. Someone yelled, "Leave him alone." Then there was a crack. My grandfather hit the porch floor screaming. They broke his arm. Clean fracture. And then, this part still makes my blood boil, they told him if he didn't comply, they'd be back with real authority. They fled before police arrived. By the time I got the call, he was already in the hospital. Here's the thing the fake HOA officers didn't know. My family doesn't play when it comes to elders. And my cousins. They're bikers. Not weekend cosplay bikers. Not Instagram leather vest guys. Real ones. Within hours, the hospital room was full. Leather jackets. Tattoos. Quiet fury. No shouting. No threats. Just phones out, gathering details. They didn't talk about revenge. They talked about accountability. First step. Information. Security footage from neighbors. License plate caught on camera. HOA Facebook group screenshots. Fake enforcement notices posted online. Names started surfacing. Small-time bullies pretending to be authority, running an intimidation racket. Second step. Law. One cousin was ex-military police. Another worked private security. They contacted the sheriff, not with emotion, but with evidence. Impersonation. Assault on an elderly man. Fraud. Extortion. The sheriff took it seriously. But that wasn't the end of it. Because while the law moved slowly, the bikers moved smart. They didn't touch anyone. They didn't threaten anyone. They did something far worse. They exposed everything. Every fake HOA document. Every illegal fine. Every resident who had been bullied into paying. They helped neighbors file complaints. They showed up, peacefully, at city council meetings. Rows of leather jackets sitting silently while victims spoke. The fake officers panicked. One tried to flee the state. Another deleted his social media and hid. Didn't matter. Warrants were issued. The arrest footage never went public, but I heard how it went. No drama. No resistance. Just handcuffs and the sound of lies collapsing. Charges stacked up fast. Felony impersonation. Elder abuse. Conspiracy. Fraud. The so-called HOA. Dissolved. Assets frozen. Accounts seized. Every fine refunded. And my grandpa. His arm healed. But more importantly, so did his pride. A few months later, he was back on that porch. Same chair. Same tomatoes. This time with a new camera system, a restraining order framed on the wall, and a smile that said, "You picked the wrong house." Sometimes people think power comes from badges, uniforms, or loud voices. They're wrong. Real power comes from family, truth, and knowing when to stand up, and when to let the system crush those who thought they were untouchable. Those fake HOA officers wanted control. Instead, they got prison time. And every time I see my grandpa wave from his porch, I'm reminded of one thing. You can bully a lot of people in this world. Just pray you never choose the wrong family.